Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Ariels podcast with the Digital Podcast Network. How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. I thank you, the worldwide Arielist family, for listening and keeping this podcast alive. This is the summer of 2026. We are in our 6th season and have a lot of great stuff coming up. Number one, coming into Houston in July. We're doing the Texas Ariel Gathering here in San Antonio in August. I'm hitting Dallas Circus Center December 5th and 6th, and then NECA, the New England Center for Circus Arts, in January again. If you are wanting to do an online course with me, I have Ariel Rehab, a comprehensive beginner to intermediate course, and a free mini course in case you want to just check out my style. Go to my website for that. Go to the show notes for all those links. And I'm so excited to be here, you guys. Let's get started. Okay, so I actually looked up when we did I think it was 2 years ago we did our podcast.
Yeah,
something
it
like
was
that.
when I was pregnant, but yeah, it was when I was 20 to 24 months, or 20 to 24 weeks.
Yeah, so let me read this. Okay, so you had placentia accretia, you had a miscarriage, and you talked about midwives. At the time you were 42, you were currently in the 2nd trimester of baby number 2. You're a researcher, and you experienced 2 miscarriages in your family planning journey. Your toddler had high neonatal bilirubin jaundice.
Oh yeah, with my first.
And your pregnancy was going smoothly. You're going to try for a VBAC.
Yeah.
So this is I know. It's great to have notes, right?
Yeah, and I realized after the last time we met that I was actually, it was accreta, not accretia. I was pronouncing it wrong and spelling it wrong before I actually met with the midwives to discuss it. So,
I mean, usually I Google these things before putting them in the show notes. Maybe we both got it wrong somehow. But...
Maybe, yeah. But at least based on how the midwife described it, and when I verified the spelling after the fact, I realized we were mistaken. So sorry about that.
It's okay. All right. So we're doing a check-in now. Yeah. It's been 2 years. Where are you? How's the family going?
Good. Amazing. My newer baby is 10 and a half months old. She is on her 3rd month of walking.
Woo!
So it's very busy. I joined a circus company in March.
Wow.
At 5 weeks postpartum, because I was starting to get bored with my solo training, and it's, working full time in science and aerialing and parenting, co-parenting. So just trying to keep it all together.
Wait, let me do math. The baby that your youngest is the baby you were pregnant with when we spoke. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back to that whole thing, because you were in the middle of it.
Of course.
Tell us the blow by blow.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have placenta accreta. It was not over my cervix. So I at least had the option for a VBAC. Unfortunately, my body, not unfortunately, I was able to successfully have a VBAC, but I went until 42 weeks, and they insisted on inducing me at that point. I couldn't stay with my midwife group. If I wanted to go beyond the 42-week point, I was going to have to find a completely different provider. So I tried to induce, but I tried to induce without an epidural, and so it didn't progress until I gave in and got the epidural. But then I got a VBAC, so it was still a multi-day process to get the baby from the start of induction to successfully exiting. But I did have a VBAC. I had some hemorrhaging right after my baby came out, but the midwives were all over that and able to handle it. And I was able to hold her while they dealt with that, and then, pass her off to my partner while she got weighed and measured and they dealt with me.
How did they get the hemorrhaging to stop? Do you know?
They injected, I think, if I recall correctly, there was vitamin B and anticoagulants that they injected in order to induce, and also I am blanking on the hormone that makes the uterus contract right now, but more of that hormone as well.
Now, was it your preference to go past 42 weeks, meaning like you wanted it to happen naturally? It was your preference.
Yes, they wanted me to induce much earlier and I kept putting it off. No, they would have preferred that I induce like on my due date, or pretty close to it.
Your midwife group.
Yeah. Well, it's a midwife group that's associated with a hospital. So it's not like a midwife group, out in the wild. They were still very medicalized and associated with hospital practices. So it was a little bit of a mixture between the worlds. I was trying to get the all-natural birth, but my body wasn't cooperating with that.
Do you know the math on that? Do you know your doctor?
In the U.S., I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know
like
in
how
the
far
case
people
of
take
induction, in the U.S., it's rarely allowed to go past 42 weeks. I was listening to a podcast at the end of my pregnancy. That was like part of why I was trying to push it as long as I could. That was saying that in like the Scandinavian countries and, non-US countries, that it's not unusual to go past the 42-week mark. But I don't know the math offhand, unfortunately. I should have pulled that up before I plan to come here.
Well, that's why I love talking to people like Dr. Jen, because she knows things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't do my research at the time.
Can you reintroduce yourself to the audience when it comes to what you do?
Yeah. I am a research scientist in industry. I have my PhD in neuroscience, but I am working in infectious disease, medical device manufacturing, and R&D.
All right. Smarty pants. And then your aerial practice, tell us your update, like where you are in your practice.
Yeah, I started doing aerial fabric in 2015. I taught aerial fabric and then would also dip my toe in some rope and some hammock from 2018 until December of 2023. December of 2024. And then the studio I was teaching at closed down, and I was pregnant with my second child. So I chose to just focus on my solo practice when I joined a new studio, and have been more focused on trying to get better at performing and not doing as much teaching right now.
Okay.
I don't feel my bandwidth is I'm full with parenting and work. And I wanted to focus on me and my aerial practice rather than teaching for now. I'm sure I'll get back to teaching at some point. I'm definitely interested, but just life. And I was a little burned out from my previous teaching experience. So I'm kind of enjoying having a break from that for a little while and focusing on myself for a little while in my own practice.
Honestly, I don't even know how people with regular jobs and kids are even making it to the gym. Honestly, yeah.
I'm really spoiled. I do drop off in the morning and then my husband does pick up in the evenings. So 2 evenings a week, I leave work a little early and go straight to the aerial studio and just do 2 hours all at once. And then on Sundays, I have 2 back-to-back rehearsals for 2 different shows that I'm in coming up in the next couple of months. And I verify, I conversed with my partner before committing to everything, and they were agreeable. So that's where we're at.
Here's the bean.
Hi, Bean.
Yeah, she's getting big, huh?
Mm-hmm. Sounds like my older one. She always wants to go to the pool too. I'm like, it's not even open right now.
Well, it's at the end of the summer. Jenifer, where are you at again?
I'm
Where do
in
you
Salt
live?
Lake City. Salt Lake City. Salt Lake County. I work in the northern part and live in the southern part. So it's
Are you
pretty
guys having
hot here.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you're having a hot summer.
Yeah, very hot. It was a little bit, we were grateful it was in the 90s in the earlier part of the week, but it probably was only in the 90s because Washington was on fire and our valley was full
Oh.
of wildfire smoke. So,
Oh.
a little bit of a mixed bag. And then today, I think it's, yesterday and today, I think it's back in the three digits. It's pretty brutal. I mean, dry
you
heat,
guys-
not like Texas where the humidity is out of control, but
Yeah, you guys are kind of competing with us, though. I mean, it's hot here, but we expect it to be hot, you know?
we expect it to be hot in Salt Lake City.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually pretty hot. It's usually hottest in July and then sometimes still hot, but sometimes slightly cooler in August. It depends. But it's a dry heat, so it's not the same as Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, we got it. We have the armpits.
Oh my gosh.
The hot.
Yeah.
And San Antonio is a valley.
Oh,
So it's just like
everything gets trapped in there.
everything gets trapped in there. All the heat gets trapped and we are just swimming in it. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it was when we went back east. We were in Philadelphia for a week or
yeah.
around in that area. And that was when Canada was on fire and the East Coast was covered in wildfire smoke too. It was like I was going to escape it. And there was no hope.
there's no hope. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, is a VBAC is basically when you are able to have a vaginal delivery after having a C-section.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you talk about the dangers of trying one of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So the problem once you've had a C-section is you have a scar on your uterine muscle through through all of the layers of your uterus, and so that creates structural instability if the tissue hasn't healed well enough to be able to withstand the forces of the uterus contracting to give birth again. It's especially a problem. It's definitely a problem if the placenta is over the uterine scar or over the cervix. So I had a friend who had previa at the same time that I was pregnant, and she had to give birth at 26 weeks, or she had to have a C-section at 26 weeks because there was no way for her baby to get out. And I was really lucky that my placenta was not over my C-section scar. So I had the option to try for a VBAC after my initial C-section.
And the reason why is just you want to avoid it having second surgery, right? That's why.
Yeah. Well, I really didn't want to have a lot of intervention in either of my births, and it just circumstances didn't cooperate with my desires. I ended up with a C-section the first time, but I was at least able to, even though I was induced the second time, I was still able to have a VBAC. So I was able to experience both recoveries.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm assuming the VBAC recovery was easier than the C-section recovery.
So, I think they were different. The C-section, the initial pain was harder and the initial recovery was harder, but then I didn't have to rehabilitate my pelvic floor as much. Whereas I felt like with the VBAC and the vaginal birth, I didn't have as much initial pain. I was on my feet again, and mobile faster. But, I had to do that pelvic floor therapy, and I, early on was experiencing incontinence and had to do diaphragmatic breathing. But as soon as I started doing that stuff, I started seeing an improvement. And I did was doing Erica Zeal's Knocked Up Fitness regime,
Okay.
pretty regularly, and then once I got permission to be active again, I also started going back to the aerial studio and doing focused floral workouts. That I tried to time with, the pelvic floor diaphragmatic breathing, and eventually things reintegrated. So, and by eventually, for me, that took about 4 months of consistent work, 4 to 5 months. And then at the 5 to 6 month mark, I was starting to really feel like I could take it up a notch and start working a little bit harder. But that is me as a unique human. A lot of people don't recover that quickly, even with focused work like that. So,
And you did it on your own. Did you go see a PT?
Yeah, I had a PT and a pelvic floor PT that I met with a couple of times, but I had already gotten a lot of feedback from them prior to my pregnancy and during my pregnancy. So I got a little bit more feedback from them postpartum, but I was primarily going through the exercises and doing things on my own. I took their recommendations into account, of course, but I was doing stuff before I was meeting with them because I had already had the experience and they had already told me what I needed to know.
Yeah. I love this. Okay. And, so you're a mama of how old again?
A 4-year-old and a 10 and a half, or a 4-year-old and a 10 and a half month old.
10 and a half month old. Okay. Tell me about this stage of parenting for you.
It's really busy. The 4-year-old wants to be aggressively helpful all the time. The 10 and a half month is trying to learn how to do things on her own. And the 4-year-old is always trying to help her when she doesn't need help. So it's frustrating because you're trying to balance the, emotional outbursts of the 4-year-old, who doesn't get everybody's 100% attention anymore. And really loves being a big sister, but also just is not entirely sure always where she fits into the family equation now. And so I just have to make her back off a lot from the baby to convince her that the baby is trying to do things on her own. She doesn't always need help. Even if it doesn't seem like the baby can do it, eventually she'll figure it out if you let her.
It's hard to be an older sibling.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, at least in her case, she had all your attention.
For sure.
Before.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like that age is a little bit better than if you had waited a little bit longer. I remember when my brother was born, I was already 5.5. And I remember very vividly the thought of like, my life is never going to be the same.
Right. Yeah. When you're old enough. Yeah. I feel really lucky. I think I got in a really good sweet spot between too young and too old as far as the older sibling age. Because I think when they're too young, they're not as self-sustaining and independent. So you have to do a lot more work to keep both of them, alive and maintained. But if they're too old, then the older one just doesn't have any interest and doesn't want to help. And I'd rather have her want to be helpful than not want to be helpful. She doesn't have negative feelings towards the baby that she articulates very much. I mean, she talks about her emotions, but she doesn't I've never heard the words like, I hate my baby sister. It's always, I love her and I want to help her. I want to teach her things. So
I
nice.
Hated my brother.
Right. And I think that's the older you get, right? And when I was a kid, my younger brothers were 6 and 10 years younger than me. So I was the older sibling. Yeah. A lot older sibling. So I think I got lucky. I think it was good timing for us.
I mean, I eventually started liking my brother.
Right. Well, then
but
it takes time when you're older. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are starting to get to the point where the older one will go in her room and close the door. And some of that is because she wants privacy, and some of that is because of all of the tiny little things that are in her room and the bunk bed with the ladder that we don't want the baby getting into. So,
Yeah. Okay. Did you breastfeed? Are you still breastfeeding?
I'm still breastfeeding and I'm still pumping, working full time. Yeah, we're working on the transition to solids. I'm trying to do baby-led weaning, and it's going great. The baby's eating a lot of solids. She's still having a pretty good amount of milk too, though. So we have decreased supply, but we're still working on it.
I feel like this whole stage of life, I don't know, thinking about you and the last time I talked to you and you were pregnant and now you're still breastfeeding that baby.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a long time. Am I wrong about that?
It is a long time. Yeah. Yeah, we're working on it. I mean, I breastfed my first daughter until she was 20 months old. I remember being ready to be done around 15 months and starting to but not really knowing how to go about the weaning process. And then I remember getting to 18 months and kind of starting to force it by just reducing the amount of time that she would nurse in a session on each side and having it be more like of a comfort thing, but limiting the time on it. So we'll see. We'll see if we make it. We might not make it that far this time. We'll see how the solid thing is if we're able to transition. But once we hit September and we're at the 12-month mark, I'll start introducing some alternative milks, and we'll see how that goes.
And are you working from home full time?
God, no.
No, okay. It's just
No,
weird that you're at home today.
No, I'm not at home today.
You're at your office right now.
I'm at my office, and they have hoteling desks, so I just reserved myself an office to work in for a little while.
Oh, so you guys are like flex space.
I have a cubicle, and then there's hoteling offices around for when people are visiting from different sites, or if you work in a cubicle and you need to take a meeting and you don't want to have your meeting allowed on the whole floor. Yeah, so there are flex spaces within the building that I work in.
Oh my God, this whole
I primarily work on site. I have the option to work from home one day a week, but I have to jump through hoops and get permission and have business justification for that because we're a lab department. So they really want people on site working in person for the most part. It would be really nice to be remote. That would be great.
I actually just left a job because it didn't offer me enough flexibility for my kid.
Yeah. I wish I had that option, but in the field I work in,
it's
there's
not a great
only
idea,
so much.
by the way.
It's got to be challenging.
It's challenging. Yeah.
I'll work from home sometimes when they're sick, although I've honestly just started taking PTO and not worrying about it because it starts to get stressful trying to keep them occupied and working at the same time.
Yeah.
Because people are asking for things, and it gets challenging.
And the thing that I was having trouble with is I was using all of my time for her to be sick, but I had never gotten sick yet. I was like, well, what happens when I get sick?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So far, we've been okay. Previous years, my husband has had more PTO and he's taken a lot of sick days, but he just started a new position in the first quarter of this year. So I've been doing more of the sick days this year because I have more PTO to burn.
We'll
how
do parents do
how
this,
the end of it. Yeah, I don't know. People who don't have PTO, people who don't have daycare. I feel very privileged. I have a lot of resources at my disposal.
Do you also have family in town?
No. But I do have lots of friends, mostly aerial friends and friends left over from grad school. and we're working on our collection of babysitters. I've actually this coming Saturday, my husband flies out for a business trip for the first time, and I'll be solo parenting for the first time next week. So that's going to be exciting. I've been scrambling around trying to get my training times covered so that I can, still train because I have 5 or 6 performances coming up in the next 3 months. I don't really want to
Oh my
miss
God.
anything and lose my
Tell me about these
strength.
performances.
Well, I'm in a company for our studio, Vaudeville Underground, and we'll be doing a show at our studio on October 29th and 30th. And then I'm also in another show for a teacher and a longtime friend at the studio, Nancy Carter, who is a really talented choreographer. And her show is fun because we're going to do one showing of it outside underneath an overpass in downtown
cool.
Salt Lake City. So that showing will be on September 12th, and we'll set up a couple of outdoor rigs and have a show out there. We had a different show under the overpass that she had choreographed under the overpass like this a few years ago in I think it was September of 2023. So it's been a few years. But it's pretty cool. We get a permit from the city. And,
I was going to ask, how does one go about doing this?
Yeah, Nancy deals with all of the logistics of that. Thank goodness. So I don't know the details, but I know she has to, apply for a permit, and then, all the AV and speakers and everything has to have electrical lines run outside. And so there's a lot of logistics that go into it that are currently being figured out. But her show is, she's from West Virginia, so it's going to be Appalachia themed, like memories and recollections and responses about kind of that theme. So it should be interesting.
I love this. Goodness, you have a very, very full plate, girl.
It's good for me. This will be the first time where I've had a performance piece that I've put together where I get to perform it like a whole bunch of times. It's really, really nice.
Oh, that's lovely because you get to like really feel it. And
And I'm going to
hone it in.
I have the same choreography, but for both shows, but I'm using different music for the different shows. So I get to kind of like do some different adaptations, which is fun. I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, so Jenifer, would you have any advice for the mamas out there who are trying to balance it all?
Oh man, give yourself a lot of grace and set aside time for yourself. Like schedule it in your week, or it's not going to happen. Schedule it and commit to it. And if you want to make something happen, that's the only way it's going to happen. And don't worry about being perfect in everything else. Who cares if all the laundry is put away? If it's clean and it's in a pile in that closet, I'm happy. I'd prefer that it was clean, put away, but you can only do so much. So you just start going down the list. But if you don't get to the whole list, don't worry about it.
Yeah, this is stuff I have to remember too.
I still, even though I know these things, I still have to remind myself in the moment, like, it's okay. Just leave it. It's fine.
Yeah. Can you imagine you guys having more children?
No, we're done. I'm 43. We only were ever planning on having two, especially given how late we started. So we're good.
Yeah.
and we're really like, we're all biased by our own kids, but my kids are really freaking awesome. So
yeah, me too. I love my kiddo. She's the best.
I can't imagine. Yeah, we couldn't do any better. I guess I thought that after the first one already, but now we really, really can't do any better. Now
you really, really can't do any better. It's been great catching up with you, Jenifer.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a nice little cute check-in. I think that's a great episode.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for reaching out. Yeah, it was good to say hi again.
All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to my guests for carving out the time to be with me. If you would give me a review and smash that 5 stars, it really, really makes a huge difference in other people being able to find this podcast organically. So I thank you for that. Go to my show notes if you want to check the links out for anything, or if you'd like to sign up for any of my workshops coming up. I really appreciate you. If you'd like to be on this podcast, please DM me at CarrieWee1 on Instagram. I would love to highlight your story on this podcast. I want to get as many diverse stories as possible. All right, my friends, over and out. This is the Expecting Airless podcast, now with the Digitent Network.